sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What you feel like? Freedom. What you feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Vincent, you gotta watch.
Oh,
Vincent,
not a
hey,
lot.
but Vincent,
Oh.
Vincent, you gotta watch the time, man, and listen to the intro, cause you know when we're about to go live, cause that's when my girl, Representative Ayanna Presley comes on and says, "We don't
We don't
need no
need
more black faces without black voices. Sit your punk asses down." I
Yeah.
think she said that, and they edited it out. I swear I heard her say it. Sit your punk
Uh,
asses down. We don't need you anymore. We don't want you and we don't need you. Anyway, today is Tuesday, Deidre Viney Day.
woo woo.
I tell you, I got to find some sort of a audio file to play. Maybe like a trumpet or something. What do you think, Deidre? What would work? What would you? What?
Trumpet. Yeah, I like trumpets. That'll work.
All right.
Maybe
So,
we get up trumpet, do a visual of the Red Sea parting, and
no, I think a trumpet. Well, I mean, I could do a visual. We could have like a whole video intro.
there you go.
But until I can get time to do that, I think next week we'll have a trumpet. So anyway,
By the
guys,
way,
listen. Yesterday
oh,
was hot, hot, hot. I don't know what today's weather's supposed to be, but yesterday beat the crap out of me. And I didn't take the advice that I gave to everybody else. I didn't hydrate. And so, yeah, man, that compounded things a little bit.
yes, especially now in this heat wave, because we had a week or so of comfortable weather, and then we went up into the 90s, and
That's all it was 90 yesterday. It felt like,
high 90s.
man, it felt like I was on Mars, man.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes the human body simply 2 hours to acclimate to a climate change.
Well, listen, I'm still acclimating. And anyway, look, and I want to get to Deirdre's stuff because Deirdre stays on until 11. Maybe she'll stay on later. I don't know, but I want to get to her quick. But so let's get to her, and then we'll talk about hydrating, dehydrating, because something fascinating happened to me yesterday, and I want to share it with everybody. But anyway, Deidre,
Yes.
wait a minute. Who was the artist that said? It was Dougie Fresh, right? You're on, right? And see, I could have that too. Except,
6 minutes.
right? 6 minutes, Deidre Viney. You're on,
Oh, that'll
right?
work. I like that.
You like that?
actually. Yeah. So today I wanted to talk about preparing for a video or virtual interview, which we can also coincide that with phone screening. I want to kind of delve into both of those
Okay.
because it's interestingly enough, I was at the Employment and Training Center yesterday talking to them because, we've got jobs, we've got lots of jobs, and I'm trying to do some recruiting with them. And we were chatting because they're doing virtual interviews too for folks that are, filing unemployment or whatnot. And she was having some of the same challenges that we were having in terms of, folks are showing up as they're showing up, which is not the appropriate way for a virtual interview. It is still an interview. And so I want people to kind of keep that in mind as they want to, again, put your best foot forward as you're going to look for a job. And as we transition into, using more technology, video interviews might actually be the new thing, and I know we've been doing phone interviews forever, phone screening, at least the beginning part of it.
Right.
And so that's the way that you need to be prepared for when someone calls you. And so I just want to kind of dig into a couple just quick tips on video, and then we'll kind of segue into, what that means on the phone interview. So the first one is, to test your technology, make sure that you are in a space that works. And I know, for me, for example, this one room in my house, I know for a fact doesn't get good internet. Okay, that's not the place to use when you're going to have a phone interview, or even a video interview, I should say. A lot of times they're going to call you, they're going to set up a specific time and a specific date for an interview. And so you have an idea of when this is. And so if that time works for you, then that's when you're going to set it up. If it doesn't work, you have to just be honest and say, this is not a good time, this is a better time.
Right.
I think sometimes people
tend to just kind of stay sure and then not realize life happens. And so you want to make sure that that's going to be a good time for you and the employer. So test your technology. Make sure that it's an area that's working. And like I said, I'm going to dig. This is kind of sort of along the same lines of phone interviews. I'll touch upon both of those, because phone interviews too, you want to make sure it's a time that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing too is, this is what I talked about with the woman yesterday, is you want to be professional. You want to have your professional name in there. You want to have a professional first impression, especially if it's a video interview, because they're going to now see you, and they're going to see your username, and a lot of people are using Zoom, and there's a couple other platforms, but you want to make sure that you have that all set, so that when you show up, you're going to show up as you would at the interview. I think to the point that we were making, folks are showing up for their interviews, they're in bed, they're in pajamas, they've got their hair not done.
No, are you serious? Wait. Deirdre.
Yes.
Deirdre.
Yes.
Are there people literally that you know, that you've seen or heard about, that are showing up for video interviews for jobs in their pajamas or in bed?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, well,
Wow.
there have been a couple of Eric Dawson shows where I had my pajama pants on.
Well, but I don't think that's funny. I think that, look, people need jobs. Even the people who are showing up for video interviews. And it's different, Vincent, when you show up, because, and I would even, I wouldn't even, see, here's the thing, and we were talking about this yesterday. We can't even ask them to use discretion, right? Like I was gonna say, well, if you set your camera up and from the waist up, you can be presentable from the waist down if you had your pajama pants on. See, no, it's too much for them to think about. They should get fully dressed like they were going on a regular interview. That way, there is nothing to chance. Right? Because they may spill their coffee or something while they're sitting there and then have to stand up, and then all of a sudden, you see SpongeBob SquarePants.
Right, exactly. I think that the whole showing up, even when this whole, COVID thing happened, we were talking about, kind of getting in the right mindset even as you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
For me, I would think that even trying to search for a job in pajamas may not be the best way that motivates me.
Well, can I give you an example? So this is a real life example. Amina had a job interview yesterday, which is why I had to handle the farmer's market that she normally goes to. And her whole preparation was as though she was going out, right? So she has a yoga room here, and she prepared the room, right? She made sure the temperature was a comfortable one for her, so she wasn't going to be sweating during the interview. She did her hair, she did her makeup, she had a dress on. I'm watching this, and it was a full preparation. A full preparation. Now, when I ended the show, she was in the midst of her interview. So the door was closed. Like we talked about all of this. I wonder if she watched the show, because she did an excellent job preparing. But she had the door closed to keep out any background noise, right? Knowing that I would have to, be up and down the stairs as I was getting ready to head to the farmer's market. We have a cat, and, she locked him out so that he wasn't bothering her while she was in the middle of her interview. So she did all of those things to isolate herself, to create a professional environment that said to the interviewee or interviewer that she was very serious about what she was doing, and not only that, but that she valued their time. You see, so I saw it in full display yesterday, Deidre. You would have been proud. I think you would have been proud of her.
She took it seriously, because That's what I'm saying. I think some individuals might be saying, "Oh, it's virtual. I don't have to really, my resume is gonna speak for itself." And no, you need to. You got to speak for yourself. And they want to see that you're taking it seriously. How seriously you're going to take the job? If you're going to be able to show up professionally at work.
Yeah.
They're looking at all those things.
And then
Communication
Deirdre,
skills, all of that.
isn't it also this, right? So they get off the phone or the video interview with you. I'm talking about the proverbial you. And, you didn't have your hair done. You weren't looking professional. And I'm talking men and women, right? So you didn't shave. You didn't have your hair cut. You didn't have a tie on. If it was a woman, she didn't have she wasn't professionally dressed. The environment, the background, all of that stuff was, pretty shady. When they end the interview with you, maybe they have another interview lined up. Or maybe they had one previous to interviewing you, right? And they're looking at all of that. So not just your resume, but they're comparing how seriously these other candidates took the interviewing process. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. And so you don't want anything that's going to leave them questioning the situation with you because you didn't take that extra step and prepare for the interview by at least showing up in a shirt. You don't hit the bottom part of it. I still suggest both because, to your point, you might forget and then you stand up and close the door and there you go. So it's if you and again, I think it gets you in the right frame of mind to be able to sit down and talk in a professional manner when you're dressed appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for what does it look like in the back of your background? What does that look like there? Some folks might, the same thing with the bed, which is why I give that example. Since I've seen ones with beds or whatever. What can you want it to be as simple as possible. Let's say the only clear place in your house is your bathroom. There's so many different virtual backgrounds that you can change your background to that no one will know that it's a bathroom unless you tell them it's a bathroom.
Right.
Because you can change it to be something very professional. You could be in an office looking or just a clear, blank screen, whatever it is, but it should be something that doesn't want to be distracting to the person that's looking at you. So if you can't find a small, simple corner in your house, and that's the good thing about virtual, you really can set it up that they don't know where you are. But a small, simple corner that doesn't have distractions of what's on the walls or anyone walking by or anything in that nature. You want it to just be simple and clean. If you have a messy background, they might start making judgment calls on what is going on with you.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in terms of the virtual background, they did a survey because of all the Zoom and everything, and people tend to look in your house and look at what's going on and what you have there. So when people are doing the virtual background, the most popular one for a professional?
What was that?
The one with the home libraries.
Ah.
The shelves, the books.
So what about the background that I have on the show?
Library place, with tall, 15, 20-foot story.
So Deidre.
From floor to ceiling. It looks fabulous. Not my house, but somebody's house.
So Deidre, what about the background that I have for the show? Would this be an appropriate background if I were doing an interview?
Yes, I like your background a lot. It's very simple. I like the city view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, because your background gives you the impression of a corner office space.
Ah.
Top floor.
There you go. All right.
That's a nice visual.
Yes, it gives off the impression of executive vice president. You're in the top tier. You're rewarded for your hard work and effort. You've got the wonderful office, and you're worth every amenity.
So guys, I think that what we're getting at is this: take it seriously. Like,
Ex-
take it seriously.
Exactly. So another thing too is that one of the things that I think we forget about sometimes, and I'm guilty of this myself, is we don't pay attention to our body language when we're talking to someone virtually. So similar to like if you were at an interview, they're looking at you trying to maintain eye contact. They're looking at you kind of, let's say you were kind of, starting to grab a hold of. I'm acting like I'm on virtual myself. So I'm grabbing hold of the top of my head, and I might be, how for some people when you start to get stressed, you might start pulling your hair or you start doing certain things.
Picking your nose.
Yeah, you have to be mindful of those things because you may not realize what you're doing. As that translates into the video.
Right.
Eye contact is a big one too. That's a one that I think everyone should be able to take a hold of that. That's why when I talk about step one in terms of just putting yourself and making sure that you're getting your technology together, look at yourself on screen to see what that looks like, see where that eye location should be, so that person does feel like they have your undivided attention and you're not looking to the left and because your camera's in the wrong spot or whatever. So it's a good idea to sort of set that up ahead of time to practice.
One thing I've also noticed with Zoom meeting is lighting is very important in your preparation.
Yeah,
that was another one I was going to say. And that's why it's part of the whole thing with practicing ahead of time, because you might not realize it. Actually, it's funny you should say that, because I had a Zoom meeting, and this was a pretty big one, and I couldn't see the person. And I don't know if they probably didn't realize that they were in the dark lighting. So that's how you're going to, you have to practice and have someone look at it. So that I feel like you should be able to see it yourself, but you can see it on the screen. But maybe you go in with another person just to kind of check the lighting, make sure everything looks good. Did Amina do that with you,
she did it all.
Eric?
She did. We did it all. We, in fact, what happened was we Zoomed, right? I was downstairs in the dining room. She went upstairs in her yoga room. And, we did a video conference. We conferenced one another so that we could look at the angle, we could look at the lighting, we could look at all of those things. It's really important. It's a test run, right? That's what you're doing. You're doing a test run. I think that it is beyond arrogant to believe that you don't need to practice, that you could just go there and wing it. When you, and you know what, you can, but you're gonna fail, right?
Yeah.
So you can do that, but you're gonna fail. And there are people who are practicing as we speak. They're doing test run after test run after test run in preparation for that interview.
Yes.
Some of them are doing it for the interview that you're interviewing for. And so why do you have the arrogance to believe that you don't have to do any of that? While these other people are doing it and working hard to impress the people they're going to interview. And you believe that you're going to get the job. Stop fooling yourselves. And look, I'm going to say this too, and I'm going to let you finish, Deidre. Finding jobs are challenging, right? It is a lot of competition out there. Why wouldn't you give yourself the best opportunity you could? Why wouldn't you do that?
And part of that, and giving yourself the best opportunity is what Deidre said in the beginning. It's the preparation. It's the time that you take before it actually happens. The hair and makeup is a huge presentation. The changing the background is a huge presentation. The lighting is a huge presentation too, because one, if you are too dark, people think that you are trying to hide something, and if you are too light, you become overpowering, and they can't focus on what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think it's just it's sometimes you just want to see the person. I won't say that you're hiding something. It's just that it's better for me to have a conversation with you if I can see your lips moving and I can see your body language. If it's dark and I can't really see what's going on, it's sort of like and I may not say anything as the interviewer. I might just kind of proceed. And
But it's
think that
distracting,
that's
right?
what we have to deal with.
But if nothing else, it's distracting, right? And you want them to be able to focus on what you're saying. You want them to be able to focus on all of the qualities that you are trying to share with them, the reasons why they should be considering you, right? Why you are a value to the company. But if instead, while you're talking, in the back of their mind, they're wondering, like, why is it so dark over there where they are? Because they're human beings too, right? And so they could be distracted and miss things that you say because they are preoccupied with something else. So you want to give them as few distractions as you can.
Yep. And so back to the distractions too is a biggie, because one of the things that I've noticed when I've done interviews, phone or virtually, is distractions of sound, distractions of where you're at, and some things you don't have control over, right? If you're in a neighborhood and next, a car, speeds by, police speeds by, you can't control that because that just happens. But you can try in the best of your abilities to be in the quietest room in your house, and maybe that might be the basement. Okay, I'm going to go back even to the bathroom. Right? Nobody's going to bother you in the bathroom.
Wait a minute, Deidre,
No, not in my house.
No, but what I gotta say is this, and I'm being very serious. I'm being very, very serious. I don't want you going in the bathroom because you might forget that you're doing an interview and flush the toilet.
There you go.
I'm being very serious. You may forget. And then in a moment of you like wandering, your mind wandering or something, you might flush the toilet. Put yourself, like, go isolate yourself in a room somewhere and put a couple plants behind you or something if you have them, or go to the dollar store and get some fake ones that look real, right, and put them behind. Like, but no, I'm serious, Deidre, because
okay, you don't like the bathroom, okay.
Well,
okay.
no. Look, I think that there are some people who could do
You got
it.
the bathroom fan going in the background. Yeah.
But I think that some people could pull it off, Deidre, but I'm saying we don't want to leave anything to chance.
Right. So
Right.
you're in that quiet room then, so that means you're going to check your dogs, you're going to check your children. Those are two things that you can control to a certain extent. You're going to have, because remember, you're setting up this specific time and date with the employer. Mm-hmm. So if you know you have a dog that gets rambunctious, maybe that's a time that you have a neighbor or someone in your house walk the dog outside, so that you know that dog's not going to go off. Even if you're not sure, that just still might be a time to have the dog go out. Children in particular too. You're in that quiet space, have someone else look at them, care for them if they're younger children, so that they're not knocking on the door and now taking you off your A game.
Yeah.
Prepare and answer the questions in an appropriate manner.
Well, look, if you had to go out and do an interview, you'd have to find somebody to watch your dog. If you had to go out and do an interview, you'd have to find somebody to watch your children. Right? You'd have to do that. So assume the same things here. Listen, Mark says in the thread, he said he knows someone who interviewed and has been hired entirely through video conference and is now working remotely without ever meeting their employer in person. So
that's real.
Right, that's real, right? So they did everything at home. They impressed, right? They had the bona fides. It was evident on their resume, and they presented themselves well. They got hired, and God bless them. I want to work remotely.
And I think this whole thing with this virus is making, he mentioned remote work. So it's making remote work a lot more attractive to employers. And so now they're in California and they need to hire you and you're in New Jersey. They're not going to fly you out. They're going to do everything virtually. And so all the more reason why you need to be prepared and follow a couple of these tips so that you're going to present yourself in the best possible way to get the job.
Well, now, Deidre, this brings up another point though too, because we think of jobs that require us to go into an office, right? So, 15, 20, maybe 30-mile radius. What employers are doing now is if I'm doing a remote interview, a video interview, I may be competing with somebody in Seattle for a job in Edison. Did you understand what I'm saying to you? So,
Yep.
Well, because we are in, this is one of the gate openers or floodgate release of the COVID virus is that now the employers are finding people to work at home. So there's no longer a need to get that level of production from someone who has to be in a 20-mile radius so that they can be in the office on time. You can hit Seattle, Las Vegas, Colorado, California to find the best employer, which means that if you are searching for a job, your level of competition has raised that much higher.
Absolutely. Absolutely, especially if you're talking remote work. And there's quite a few companies now that have done it before but might do more of it.
Yeah.
And so now your universe is like, to your point, is very, very big from a competition standpoint. Yeah.
So Deidre, you said that you guys are busy, that there are a lot of jobs that you're looking to fill. What kind of jobs do you have that you're trying to fill?
So the main ones I'm looking for, actually, I have quite a few forklift positions open. Quite a few. I have a customer service / shipping coordinator position open. I have a receiving clerk position open. I have an assistant supervisor position open, 2 of those. Trying to think what else I'm forgetting. Those are the main ones. I probably have like 7 or 8 forklift openings now. That's the biggest one.
Wow.
We're having some challenges finding people that have experience driving a forklift. Those positions, and again, they're all local in Newark and Jersey City area. I have an executive assistant open, and that's in Jersey City. Executive assistant open. I have a general warehouse second shift. That's another one we're having a challenge filling because you need a car because of the location. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we got a lot going on.
So is it the ratio greater for the administrative positions as for the entry level?
I'm not getting as many on the administrator right now, but we are getting. I have 3 or 4 right now open that we're actively working on. So, some folks aren't back in their office yet. Some are, and some aren't. And so I think they're sort of teetering. The ones that are working back, they're starting to call us back for positions.
So, are they? I mean, we talked about this earlier, but for the listeners and viewers, are they talking about securing the work position for the non-essentials?
Are you talking? Say that one more time.
Are these employers making or made changes and precautions to protect the employees from the COVID virus?
Oh, always. Yeah, all the companies have from the very beginning. Putting in proper procedures. I've noticed that everywhere. Putting in different procedures to come to work. They're obviously they're requiring face masks. They're requiring certain PPEs depending on what the job is. Yeah, everyone's taking it very, very seriously.
And employees are supplying them, or you have to get your own?
No, the employers are supplying them. Yeah.
Okay. Has salary changed due to this virus and the demand of employees?
Not much. I haven't seen a huge demand change in pay. Demand is starting to pick up because I think as the economy continues to churn, that's why certain businesses are starting to get busier again. And it's not just food. A couple of these companies I'm working with are a lot of different other background companies. So it's a mixed bag. I don't have a certain finger on the industry right now because it seems like companies are starting to get busy again, which is great. So another thing too, though, I want to talk about. I think a couple weeks ago we talked about having your interview. Questions ready. So virtually the same thing. Like you can write it down on a piece of paper, but I would keep it, you don't want to get distracted with kind of funneling with anything and trying to find it or whatever. And you want to try to maintain eye contact. And the beauty of virtually is now you can kind of slap a sticky Post-it note, if you will, on your computer screen to the side where they can't see it as kind of a reminder for you to what couple things you want to ask or even highlight. Remember a couple weeks ago I talked about, making sure that you're going to put your best foot, you're going to highlight, your accomplishments. Now you have the ability to do that and not forget it, right? Because you can put it on a little sticky and you can put some little stars by it right on your computer screen. And there it's right in front of you to kind of mention to the employer as kind of a do not miss this. And the same way with questions that you want to ask them, because they're going to ask you some of the common questions. You obviously need to know the answers to that. But you want to ask them questions too, because you've done your research. And we talked about that a couple weeks ago. And so now you're going to ask them some certain questions as it relates to the job or the position of the company and have it ready. That's kind of a cute way to I want to call it cheat, if you will, because they're not necessarily, seeing you. But even if you were in person, I think it's still appropriate to have, something on a simple piece of paper that you can easily look down at and ask questions.
Yeah, I still wouldn't call it cheat. In the entertainment industry, we call them cue cards.
Exactly.
So you can bullet point everything that you need to remind yourself, and while you're in the interview, you can take a glance and improve or highlight you putting your best foot forward, which is the most easiest technique in terms of being employed or hired.
Exactly. So cue cards, whatever you want to call it, you have something ready for you. If it's a phone interview, the same exact thing. If you've done that sort of due diligence and they're going to ask you questions and the one thing about the phone interview I will mention is that sometimes a phone interview, you're going to get seen by the screener, and it's not necessarily the hiring manager. So this screener might be the one that you have to get through them to get to the next person.
Right.
And so, obviously you want to be in your best foot always. But this is all the more reason why you need to be forthright. You need to be professional, because that person may just say, nah, they don't have what's needed for the job. And they may not, you may think, oh, it's no big deal because it's just a phone screen. No, it's a really big deal, because that's how you get to the next step. And so take it very seriously with the quiet spot. Take it very seriously with setting up a time that works. Make sure that, a lot of times they're going to call you too versus the other way around. So you need to be prepared, have it on your calendar, all these things you would think of. Like we have to take that very seriously, just to Eric's point. If you have to go and drive somewhere and hire a babysitter, all those things you would need to do for a regular job, you need to take into consideration for a phone screen or even virtually. Because if you can't get to the next step, then there you go. You're not going to be able to get the job, because that next step might be virtual or that next step might be in person.
Yeah.
Look,
so until you have a job, your job is all the work that it takes to get the job.
Look, always, what they say, always be closing, right? ABC. Always be closing. Everything that you do should be about selling and closing the deal. Everything. Every single thing. And look, the reality is this. If you're not taking it that seriously, maybe you don't need a job. I wouldn't hire you if I didn't think you were serious. I wouldn't. Why would I pay you? And that's exactly what the interviewer is thinking. Why would I pay this person?
Exactly. And then one of the key things I think people forget about a lot is following up. Because I don't know if the memo got out, you don't have to, but I think follow-up is everything. Follow-up is key for you kind of highlighting some things about yourself. Mm-hmm. You making a difference between you and the next person that might not have followed up, or they were on the fence and they're not sure. But this is a chance that typically the person will give you their business cards, which has their email address on there. And you can simply send them a simple email as a follow-up to that meeting. And then, I would keep it short and sweet under a couple of sentences. You don't have to super elaborate, but you want to convey in that follow-up email about, why you're super interested in the position, and maybe 2 bullet points or 3 if you can, if you feel the need to elaborate about yourself, so that leaves something for that interviewer. They may not get back to you, and that's okay too. But I think it's a key thing for you to do is to follow up.
Great. So, what are some of the successful points to put in your follow-up card or whatever, or that you're sending to the employer?
Say that one more time. What are the things to put in there?
Yeah, some of the successful verbiage or something that, or outline of something that they could say in their actual card and their follow-up.
And so I would say something similar to say, thank you for taking the time to meet with me yesterday. I thoroughly enjoyed learning about the company and what you guys are offering. Here are 2 or 3 things where I feel I can contribute to the organization as a whole. And then boom, boom, boom. I've done this, and I've done this. And then leave it at that. Keep it super simple, super sweet, but follow up. And then in the subject title, you can put, simple thank you for the interview yesterday. Something to that effect. You don't have to go into, I know people love, and I can't say I'm a huge fan because I don't look at them, but I know that people love cover letters, and they use them for a variety of reasons. I was never really a big fan of cover letters, but I know they've kind of morphed, and people are looking at them again. But it's kind of similar to that. I guess it's a follow-up letter. A cover letter usually has highlights of your accomplishments as well, and why you think you're the best person for the job. I tend to just care about the resume, in my opinion.
And Deidre, please express to them how important it is to spell check. Spell check. Spell check.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that gets under my skin more than somebody who tells me that they pay attention to detail, that they're detail oriented, that all of these things, and then their resume is riddled with typos. Because I'm like, well, if you were so detail oriented, why the hell didn't you check this? Was this not a detail you thought was important? So it is important.
Yeah, and so with technology nowadays, I think we get lazy about how casual we can be in email, but it's still a business way that we communicate. And so if you're keeping that in mind as you are dialoguing with people, particularly with in business, if you're chit-chatting with your friend, that's something different. But if you're referring to a business case, then it's not just spelling Eric grammar.
Yes.
They're looking at grammar as well. And so now if you're doing a follow-up letter, sometimes you'll have slips when you're talking. You can't fix it when you say it. But if you're doing a follow-up letter, you can look it over a couple times before you hit send. And so please do that. And save it. I mean, that's the same thing you can use for a couple different companies, because you're talking about, your hopefully accomplishments. Maybe some of the companies are different, and maybe you might change it up a bit. But you have a kind of what I'm going to call a template of a follow-up for the company, because you want to do that. I'm telling you, people aren't doing it. So
Well, you know what I do when I was interviewing, and I send a follow-up, or even when I sent a query letter, I would first type it out, and then I'd send it to myself. And then I'd go into a very relaxed place. I'd open it and read it. See, because you typing it and you reading it in a different environment gives you a whole different perspective. And I even do that with my design work, right? So if I design something for you, I email it to me first. And then I open it and look at it, because now I'm looking at it with fresh eyes. I got a different perspective, right? And I can't tell you the number of times that I caught errors, just doing that. And then I go back and I correct them, and then I email it to myself again, and I look at it. And then once I'm comfortable, then I email it off to the client.
So your conclusion or your not cover letter, but your closing letter, the card, is it like Eric? One good technique is like Eric said, do it, yourself. Or would you also recommend reading it out loud or sending it to somebody else to check it as well?
I mean, that's always the case, even for when you do, your practice interviews. That's always a good thing to do, is to just run it by someone. Because you want to feel comfortable. Some questions you're not going to be prepared for, but your follow-up, yeah, why not? Have someone just kind of once over it.
Yeah, and run it by somebody whose opinion you respect. You don't want to you send it to a yes person who's just going to say yes and they love everything. Like me, generally as a rule, and I'm going to admit this straight out the bat, I would run it by Eric Dawson because he is very objective and he gets straight to the point.
You know what? And Vincent makes a very good point. I think that we have a tendency of surrounding ourselves with people who make us feel comfortable, right? And those people, if they feel that they make you feel uncomfortable, they're less likely to be honest with you. And so if comfort is what you're looking for, not honesty, you're doing yourself a disservice. Finding people who will be honest with you I think is imperative. And then you can send it to them and trust that, this person, because you shouldn't have them in your circle if you don't think they have your best interest at heart anyway. And so if they're in your circle and you've assumed that they have your best interest at heart, then you want them now to be honest with you, to give you the best opportunity.
Yeah, that's a really good point to make, because you want honest feedback. You want someone that's going to challenge you with your answers too, because an employer may not be so friendly with that regard. We talked a couple weeks ago about some really challenging questions and how you're going to answer them, and taking a step back and thinking about it. And again, you're never going to get every answer, perfectly in terms of preparing for it. But if you kind of get those kinks out where you're feeling comfortable and you can kind of reiterate your experience a couple of times in a couple of different ways and examples, and we talked a couple of weeks ago about stories and how important stories are to your to being able to sell yourself. Then as you're practicing with friends or someone that's a trusted advisor, then that'll once that question or even question that wasn't expected, I feel like you'll be a little bit more prepared.
No, I agree. Look, it's all about being prepared. Wait a minute. I posted something on my page a couple days ago. I may not be able to find it because I post. I think I said, oh, no, I don't want to paraphrase it. So continue to talk. If I find it, I'll share it, because I think that it's apropos. But it talks it talked about success being the friend of preparedness or something like that. But you have to be prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, mastering the virtual interview, it sounds like Amina's got it on point. She practiced, she got the lighting, she got the location, she got the door closed, she got, and I'm sure she probably had her tips on her Post-it notes or something that's kind of reminding her. She has a resume in front of her, all those kind of things that, as you would do, in a real interview. And I guess that's the biggest point I want to make, is that I think people get a little, set back because it's not, they feel like it's not in person, and so therefore I may not have to do as much, I don't have to put as much effort forward, but I feel like you actually have to put more effort forward, because now you've got to kind of come through the internet, if you will, to demonstrate why you are the best person for the job. You may not have the luxury of trying to build rapport as you would go into someone's office and you can kind of chit chat with them about something on their desk or something like that. You don't have those luxuries now. It's just about you and that person. You may see nothing else. And so you really got to, bring your A game right from the door. But all these things play into that. Dressing and preparing and being on time for your interview, even sitting there and waiting if it's a virtual. I didn't even talk about that. But if you have a 10 o'clock virtual interview, you don't dial in at 10. You probably want to dial in, 10 minutes before, one, to make sure it all works, everything's working, the right connection, and so that you're not at 10 o'clock kind of trying to figure it out, because that person's going to be waiting for you at 10.
Oh, so here's what I posted. This was the quote. I said, "Success loves preparation." Think about that. See, right? And so if you're not prepared, like, you just are not going to have the same level of success. Oh, and here's the other thing. During the virtual interviews, and like you said, dial in early, Deidre, be respectful of a hot mic.
Yes.
Be See, so your interview starts at 10. You took Deirdre's advice and you dialed in 5-10 minutes early. And you don't think anybody's on the line. Think somebody's on the line. Be prepared as though somebody's on the line. Because they may very well be. You may have missed when they dialed in.
It's like when you're sitting in the lobby of an interview and you think no one's paying attention to you. Oh no, they're paying attention.
Oh my God. I could see somebody dialing in early, Deidre, and then getting up. See, because this is what, with the Zoom or with these other things, you get an announcement usually, right? If you're doing the conference call, you announce yourself and it's supposed to let you know. But think about this. You dial in 10 minutes early, you figure you're early, you go downstairs to get yourself a glass of water. During the time that you went to get yourself a glass of water, somebody dialed in. Then you come back upstairs, and now maybe you're talking to somebody who's not going to be in the room. You say, man, I can't wait till this damn interview is over. And I'm sitting here listening to that. Be careful. Prepare yourself.
Yes. And I think to the point with the larger point is that this might be sort of a new normal in a lot of different facets. So let's just get comfortable with the technology. Let's get comfortable with how to show up for an interview and not show up in pajamas in our bed or with our kids.
I still can't believe that lounging in your bed, feet kicked up, you got one of the judge shows playing in the background. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. You got your snack bowl sitting up there vegging out.
Exactly. All of those things are going to play into it. And again, look for jobs. So let's take this super, super serious, as you would if you had to take that extra time to commute to get to the job. I mean, those interviews are still happening too. But this might even be the step before that interview. And then you got a whole another interview.
So listen, guys, Deirdre has job opportunities. If you know someone looking for a job, please reach out to her, right? Contact her at expresspros.com. Oh, we got a call. Call or go.
Good morning to the show. Just a quick question for Miss Deidre. My son's 11 years old, and he'll eventually be a teenager. For teenagers that are working, when they go for those job interviews, like my first job interview was selling Christmas trees up in North Newark. So I didn't have to go on an interview, but I did have to do interviews when I got into my early 20s with Pepsi. How do parents, or what would be your suggestion for parents preparing their children from teenage work interview preparation to college and adult job interview preparedness? Like, what would be your recommendations for parents of sons and daughters to prepare their greatest gifts for job employment? Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
So that's a great question. question. I think one of the things that children are doing, I would think, they might be in clubs. There might be certain interests that they have in certain things they do. Start asking them questions. I do this with my son too, because he's getting ready for looking for his first job. Start asking specific questions. What is something that you're interested in, and sit and they need to practice eye contact with you to make sure they're answering the question clearly and concisely. You're in a club. What does the club do? What part are you taking part in that club? What extracurricular activities are you doing? So certain things you can ask them now at a young age to just get them to be able to answer the question clearly, and look at eye contact. Practice that handshake too. Eventually, we'll get back to handshakes, and maybe
you got to talk about handshakes. Listen,
We're doing
Get that virtual handshake.
We're doing arm shakes. What are we doing? Elbows.
Elbow bump.
But I think those are things you can do now at a young age. It's just to get them to kind of talk in a way, complete sentences, talk in a way that gets their point across while, say, okay, I'm not dad right now. I'm the employer. Think of me in that way. And just go through a couple questions and get them to practice.
Also, since he's a young man, teaching him how to tie a tie. As well as, and like Deidre said, getting him to talk about himself, where he's putting himself in the best possible light. And I mean, it's incredible. I get some young kids. In fact, I'm with the 100 Black Men of Philadelphia. One of the things that we do is teach young men, because they don't seem to know at the age of 16 how to tie a tie. And so we teach them that, and also the ability to look people in the eye, shake hands, and give a bullet point of their best possible self.
Mm.
And the more that you practice with your son those techniques, the more confidence that he will gain. I mean, and in fact, my church, and I love Youth Sunday, because our children have been doing it for so long that when they get before the church and the congregation, they are so poised and so eloquent, and it is just a beautiful thing to see a child do that.
Absolutely, I love that. Yep.
All right, well, thanks for the call, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, and thanks for being a good dad.
Absolutely. Are there any other points? I don't know how long you're going to stay with us today, Deidre. But
I'm still listening, but that's all I got for today, gentlemen.
Okay. Well,
ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I think it was all fantastic. Hey, Deidre, next time you see somebody in their bed, just hang up on them. Just hang up.
Or you hear that toilet flush.
Oh, you hear the yeah. Just flush their career right down the right.
Flush that job opportunity right
That's
now.
absolutely right. Oh gosh. God bless
All
you,
right.
Deirdre. You're doing great work. Appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you guys soon. Anyone looking for work, I did put the link on there.
Absolutely.
And we're doing some
Expresspros.com.
virtual interviews ourselves, lots of them, so we can get you going quickly.
Thank
All
you.
right, Deidre, I'm looking.
We're gonna get back to that though. We've been busy on the weekend, beaching, and we're busy.
All right.
Okay. Well, as soon as the weather starts getting a little cooler and you get back to baking, I'm looking forward to it. I'll bring 2 masks and some PPEs. Okay.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys soon.
Take care now.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Deidre Viney, owner of Express Pros in Jersey City. She did post the link on the in the feed. It is expresspros.com. Please give her a call if you're looking for a job or know somebody's looking for a job. I know what I was going to tell you. We were talking about dehydrating. So because I was so busy yesterday, and I know Diane's still listening, I forgot to go out and water my garden yesterday. I got home, Vincent, my poor tomato plant my onions, my zucchini plant, my mint, my basil. It was all it was like they were crying. It was like they were children that were just like abused. like I tied them to the radiator in a house that was 102 degrees, man. And my mom walked in the backyard with me, and I literally I felt horrible. And but I'll tell you how resilient they are. I watered them, and within an hour, the leaves had gone from a wilted state, and they were once again stretched out, and so I promised them that I would never do that again. And I was rewarded yesterday. My yellow zucchini plant gave me a zucchini.
All right.
Yeah, man. There's nothing like it. You do the work. You do the things that you're supposed to do, and they will reward you. And so I've got about 8 tomatoes that are ripening now, and I got 1 yellow zucchini that I harvested yesterday. So that is my deal.
That is very impressive. Your farmer skills are really getting great. And you do have to remember, just like, you talked about hydration of yourself and how drained you were when you didn't do it.
Yeah.
The same thing for your plants. So, you got to be careful with that. But look, you guys got to send a picture, you and especially Diane, because I understand she's growing her own farmer's market in her driveway.
Listen, Diane's garden, her vegetable garden is maybe 4 times the size of mine.
Wow.
Yeah. She's doing it, man. And next year, my hope is that I'll have more time. I'm just juggling so many things. In fact, I'm looking on the screen. I can see myself, man. I need to go crawl up in that hammock for about 7 hours and get my rest, and then afterwards schedule an appointment with Farrakhan to get shaved and everything, man. I'm looking every bit the part of a guy who who just is just preoccupied with everything but.
You're looking every bit of a part of the guy who Deidre wouldn't hire on your virtual interview.
Oh no, no, I wouldn't get the job. I don't care what my resume said. I'd be yawning and everything, man.
But I do have to admit, when you did the mock interview with Deidre, you did pretty well.
But you know what? Contact. But you know what, though? So here's the thing. I prepared, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, when I showed up, Deirdre, she said, you shaved. You got a tie on. You got a jacket on. I prepared for it, and I guess if I knew I was going to have an interview, I probably would have, set my alarm this morning so I would have been able to, get to the bakery and bake and then get back and rest and prepare myself for a video interview. So I probably would have done that. I hope that the viewers are not that don't think I'm taking them for granted, just showing up, very rough looking. But I don't take you for granted, and I did rush home in preparation to be on time for the show. So I love you all very, very much. What else do we have going on?
Well, first I wanted to hear you touched on it yesterday, but I was multitasking and you were multitasking, so I really didn't get to hear how did the banana strawberry.
Well, you know what I was doing while we were doing the show? I actually was designing the logo because I had created the masterpiece in the kitchen, but I was unable. As we were doing the show, I'm saying to myself, I can't sell it because I don't have a label for it, right? So while we were doing the show, I was designing a label. So it's it is first iteration. There are going to be some modifications, but it was good enough to do that. There are some slight things that I'm gonna change. The banana, I was very it was very banana-y or banana-ish, whatever the is, and I
But then it's in terms of texture or taste.
both.
Okay.
Both, right? So, what I did was I incorporated the banana into the crust. And I was vacillating between the two. I was going to, much like you do with a banana pudding, you layer it, right? So I was going to layer it like like I don't incorporate the peaches into the crust, right? The peaches are their own, they're standalone within the peach cobbler, and same thing with the cherries and everything else. So I was going to do that with the bananas, but the challenge with bananas is the discoloration that occurs, right? And it's not a very pretty thing. But once you incorporate it into the, once you incorporate it, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So, but I incorporated, I think, too many bananas. So I'm gonna use fewer bananas. I'm gonna change a couple things up. I'm gonna increase the strawberries, I think, and because we determined based on the people at the farmers market. Remember, I was saying, is it strawberry banana or banana strawberry? Well, when people came up, they all said it was like 100% agreement. It's strawberry banana. So the
Okay.
strawberry banana, then the strawberries, right, ought to be the dominant flavor.
Dominant flavor.
Right,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna work to do that, but I'll have it done for the next farmers market, and I'll deliver it to the folks in Maplewood again. And I got to tell you this: when I went up and posted, Vincent, that I was gonna have a limited amount, those people in Maplewood showed up and they bought it out in less than maybe 20 minutes.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So you are a descendant of slave in a predominantly white.
I don't want to have that conversation because now you're gonna get my blood pressure going, Vincent.
Oh no. Okay, well we'll save it for Keep It Real Wednesday.
And you know what? Here's the beautiful thing. There is a woman. Her name is Morgan, who friended us when we first announced that we were going to be doing the Maplewood Farmers Market. And she's very, very active in Maplewood. I tell you, that community is made. I may actually go in search of a storefront and open up the very first Grandma Emma's in Maplewood. That's how that is how tightly they have embraced us. That I'm literally considering that. So Morgan, the very first day that we were there, she came, welcomed us to the farmers market. She's like the welcoming committee, and then she went to work on her social media pages, saying Grandma Emma's is here. They're a black-owned business now, and I want to talk about this. Like, I don't identify as a black-owned business. I am black and I own a business, right? But she said black-owned business. Let us be supportive of them. Let us empty all of their coolers. And literally, people came out and they said, we heard about it. Morgan posted it, blah, blah, blah. And that first day, they emptied everything that we had. And we almost doubled what we brought the second week from the first week. And they emptied that. And then we added another 20%. And they emptied that. And so every week, we increase what we bring. And they empty them. Now, Diane Murray, the queen of radio, joined me yesterday to help because she knew that I was deadbeat tired. And Amina was doing her video interview. So she'll tell you, it is an amazing. Well, all of the farmers markets are that we go to, but there is a special place in our heart for Maplewood because of the way that they deal with it. But they went on social media, man. They wrote about the strawberry banana cobbler. and they're looking forward to the second iteration. They said, look, if the second iteration is going to be an improvement from what you just did, we can't wait. So bam, there you go. So now we have our peach, we have our dark cherry, we have our blueberry, we have the apple, and now we have the strawberry banana.
All right. I am very proud of that. Very proud of your success with it.
Yeah.
You need to, definitely keep that going. But, I'm also, look, I love you. I think you're a great friend. And I'm going to tell you this very honestly. Call Deidre and get your employees.
No. Listen. So, look, bunch of people, including Farrakhan, has called and checked in on me. And you do frequently, and I thank you, Vincent. And Diane is like, she's my radio wife, and she was my farmer's market wife yesterday, checking on my health. My mother came up and checked on me. My cousin came up to check on me. I appreciate all of it. I do have help now. I have 2 people that are going to be helping in the kitchen. And so I'm looking forward to that whole experience, off-ramping some of the things that I do for them to be able to pick up the slack on. But I honestly believe that to get it where it is now, it just requires... I posted something on my page, Vincent, yesterday. I said, everybody wants to get to the mountaintop, but very few people want to climb the mountain. Hold on, let's take this call.
Yeah,
Caller, go.
that's true.
I was calling to find out, do I get a radio wife ring? If so, do I get to pick it out with matching earrings?
That is funny.
Does she do the radio wife prenup?
Sure, no problem.
Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
The queen of morning radio. How you doing, Diane?
Good morning. Listen to you guys. You did a great job.
Oh, a
this morning.
fantastic job. Diane, can you
yeah.
believe that people actually call in for job interviews in their pajamas in bed? The hell?
I can believe it. I believe it. It's funny when you talked about the lighting and being too dark, Vincent, and you said that, people trying to figure out, like, why are you sitting in the dark?
Yeah.
Well, my daughter was working, they all working from home, and one of the teachers was literally sitting in the dark teaching the kids, and my daughter was like, what is wrong with her? Doing that?
What is she trying to hide?
Like, what is that all about? Weirdo. Don't you think it's weirdo? What are you doing?
Well, that's what it is. See, I think it goes beyond whether you're trying to hide something. It's just weird. It's not normal.
Yeah.
Right? It's not normal. And then and so if you're going on a job interview, the last thing you want to be considered is not normal or weird. Like, can you imagine? So, because at the point that I think that you're weird, guess what? You're not a good fit. Hello.
Yeah. You don't want to be remembered as that creepy interview who sat in the dark.
Right? Can you imagine, like, everybody goes to lunch afterwards and go, what the hell was up with that?
Let me tell you, Eric, so while I was out there working for you yesterday, there was a kid, his mom, I guess, was inside the farmer's market getting stuff, but the kid was standing behind where we were located at, on the side under the tree, with his mask on, and with his hood on, and with his sunglasses on. Real skinny, skeptical kid. Another lady walks past him, looks at him, looks at me, looks back at him, looks at me again, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. There are very strange people out there.
Yo, listen, I got to tell you, in the morning, because I get up, I'm out of the house usually by 2:30 heading to the bakery. And I stop at 7-Eleven to get my coffee. And Diane, I'll tell you, it is crazy because you like you got everybody coming in with masks on, and I'm like, yo, somebody could be robbing us right now, and we wouldn't even know because everybody's got masks. And then how do you identify them to the police? Well, he had a mask on. Like, well, everybody had a mask on. We had a black mask on. Well, 30 out of the 20, out of the 35 people had black masks on. You know. And guess what? I had a black mask on too. So I don't know. It's all very strange. All very, very strange.
Yeah, I had to straighten that up. I got an Eagles mask.
But I think.
Well, I don't think that helps you.
It does if they're Eagles fans.
And that's like having a black mask.
Yeah, God forbid.
What were you saying, Diane?
I said, God forbid. I said people are just more cryptic than ever, and I think they use a mask to really be more cryptic. I don't know what it's about. I think, I don't know, mental illness. We could talk about, did you talk, of course you didn't talk about this, but Kanye West.
What the?
Kanye West did his first presidential, what do you call it? Campaign.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He did his campaign rally.
It was a hot mess.
So wait a minute, who's he rallying for?
To be
He's
president.
running for president.
Oh, he's
Yeah, he was in Wyoming trying to get his last, I forget what state it was, trying to get his last support for them to put him on the ballot in that state. But of course, you know, he missed the deadline.
He missed a lot of deadlines, unfortunately.
Yeah, he was ranting about abortions, eliminating the what is it, the abortion pill. He went on to talk about how when Kim was pregnant, but what people didn't catch, he talked about a girlfriend who was pregnant, as well as Kim being pregnant at the same time.
Oh.
And the combination of them, one of them having an abortion, and he said, oh, then Kim didn't want to have, Kim wanted to have a baby, and she saved the baby, and then my father, he would have aborted me if it wasn't for my mother saving me. I mean, he just went on, and it was and then Harriet Tubman didn't save slaves. She just moved us to new slave owners. That's it.
So are we saying that his campaign bid is effectively over? Is that what we're saying?
No, it's not over, because you have the same one in the White House that's going to keep pushing him out there and giving him all the energy to keep running until he literally runs himself into the ground. Or he was on Twitter yesterday. I read some of his tweets. He talked about how Kim tried to come out to Wyoming, because I guess he flew back into Wyoming, how she tried to have him committed by a doctor. They couldn't get it done. She's trying, and just like in the movie Get Out, because you know that movie was about me. Oh, it was bad. It was really bad.
He just tweeted last night that Kim and his mother and her mother are trying to get him locked up.
Right. Yeah. It's a sad sight to see.
So Kanye must be off his meds.
Yeah, he's off his meds, but he was off his meds before, when he first started with this presidential
Campaign, right?
That's crazy. And now it's gotten worse. So you have Kanye West, then you have Nick Cannon, who's now tweeting and talking about, I have suicidal thoughts because of the backlash of black people not supporting him. They're saying, not his words, that they didn't support him from his comments about the Jewish community. So he's upset about that, which I think is just another way for him to be a drama queen, for him to be seen and heard. Because, look, if you got time to be tweeting about it, then you could just as well have done it. I don't think you really have time, if you're thinking about suicide, to be out there tweeting about what you're thinking about doing. But I don't know. And then you have Tamar Braxton, who tried to commit suicide and has now been admitted into the psychiatric ward because she blames the WE TV channel for exploiting her and her family and revealing secrets about her being molested as a child from, I think, age 6 to like 16. That she had only she had not even spoken or told her mother or her sisters, but apparently she must have told a producer or somebody on the show, and that came out, and now it's in a psych ward.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's social media that's making them more crazy, or the fact that they have something in them that makes them want to be in front of TV, makes them want to be celebrities, makes them want to be seen and heard and talked about all the time, that throws them out there, and then social media and TV and everything just eats them up and spits them out.
Yes, because what a lot of people don't understand is that fame and stardom or recognition, it can be addicting. And then once people don't get that positive attention that they're used to, they then go for the negative. I mean, look at Nick Cannon. I mean, he did the thing, and now he's playing the victim. You know, oh, I'm feeling bad. Oh, I'm suicidal. I mean, it's a lot of it is a good part of wanting to get that attention. I mean, Kanye is just strictly crazy, and we all know that. Or as you said earlier, off the meds. But the big thing is that Kanye is dealing with is the backlash from a lot of people of color telling him, why is he doing that? The only thing he's going to do is split the black vote, and people really want to get Biden in. So,
well, he's not splitting the vote.
No. You know what, Diane? Look, I'm agreeing with Vincent. I think that unfortunately there are going to be some people that are going to vote for him.
There's not split the vote with him. Because a lot of people that he's speaking to aren't even voters. So he ain't splitting the vote for nobody. The one thing he hasn't campaigned about is getting his people registered to vote. Now, if he was talking about getting them registered to vote, and every time he had an event, he had people to get them registered to vote, then I would be concerned. I would be concerned then. But
so what's happening with his church and him going around spreading the gospel?
Well, pop-ups. He's moving on to something else, because when he was doing the church, he was also trying to, build these individual huts out here in the Idaho, Wyoming, wherever it was. And Kim was like, I'm not moving out there. And the city literally shut him down. He bought like thousands and thousands of acres to build these individual huts so he could have a community. And the city said, no, you're not going to do that, because this is natural preservation land. You're not doing that out here.
So do you think that there's stress in their relationship now?
I think the relationship is the same as always been. I think that he is just mentally unstable, and he needs help. And I think he's becoming more embarrassing to her than anything else, because now he's out here ranting. How do you come out here and talk about you thought about having an abortion for your child? Like, what are the repercussions of telling your 7-year-old that you might not have been here because your father wanted you to? Like, that's just crazy.
Repercussions as the child feels unloved and unwanted.
So she also made comments, and she didn't deny that it was said. What she said was she was furious that he would have such a private conversation publicly, and she wanted him to stop having these conversations on his presidential rants.
Yeah.
But, mental illness is serious, and I think the coronavirus has affected people in different ways, especially celebrities, because now you're not out in the forefront doing things, entertaining the way you would normally, and people would come to see you. Now you have to do things to keep the attention on you, because if you don't keep the attention on you, people will forget about you and stop talking about you. And I think that's partially some of Nick Cannon's situation. The other part is, when you say stuff, you have to be willing to back it up, and you should know at the end the repercussions of whatever you say.
Right.
You can't be willing to say something and not stand your ground on what you said and defend it.
Right. And he does need to own it.
Yeah, not that you can't change your mind once you get new information and stuff like that, but to blatantly come out to apologize, I think that is backtracking in this time and period when people are talking about Black Lives Matter. Now you're talking about Black Lives, and then now you're bowing down to them, and now you're upset because we won't support you.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Diane. Please spare me that bull crap. There are more important issues right now than you crying about your millions of dollars.
Yeah, so I think that's the situation with the three of them. The limelight has really played into who they are. Tamar Braxton had issues before when she was the real, and got kicked off of that. She was trying to get her own show, and then The rumor was that she was bad to work with, and then her divorce with her husband, and then they stated that rumors were that she only married him for his prestige because he was her sister's manager, and and she always wanted to be in the limelight, and she couldn't be, and it was just, I think, spiraling effect of just wanting to be accepted by everybody, and I just don't think that it's, social media is cruel. One day we like you, one day we hate you.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen just that fast.
See, what kills me about Tamar is that, okay, she's been on that 3-day rant about the networks and how they treat blacks and how upset she was because they wanted her to act a certain way and characterize her a certain way, and it wasn't the real them. And then the next thing you know, she does a Nick Cannon. Now I'm all suicidal. Oh my God! I mean, come on.
She actually a little different than Nick Cannon, and he's talking. She actually did commit suicide. Her boyfriend found her in the bathroom. She had taken an overdose of pills and alcohol, and he called 911. So she actually did commit suicide. But what from her statement and what people have said was she was more embarrassed by how they treated her and how they reflected a good black family trying to destroy a good black family. Yes, we fight. Yes, we have problems. But to exploit us like that. But then you have to say on the flip side, what do you think reality show is? They want to see...
Well, wait a minute. You said she committed suicide. Is she alive?
Yes, she is.
She attempted
She's
suicide.
in psychiatric ward. They just moved her yesterday to the psychiatric ward.
No. I just want to say she attempted.
Attempted, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but and then you have to look at it that the networks, they, first of all, a black family is very rarely portrayed in such a positive light. And in terms of networking and television, people are more focused on the bad stuff because they believe it gets them more views than the positive stuff, especially dealing with a black celebrity. A black superstar.
Mm-hmm.
So what did she anticipate with this show?
Well, she anticipated that this was going to be the rise of her career because she'd always played backgrounds to her sister, Tony, and her background to her other 3 sisters. She's the youngest. She's a little bit spoiled. I just think that she thought this was going to be her moment to come out and be an individual. And I think, like everything else, being a part of the entertainment business, like being in politics, you're literally signing your life over to the devil because there are a lot of bad things that happen, and if you aren't a strong individual mentally and you don't have a strong support group, you can easily get sucked into the nonsense.
Yeah, you can.
It backfire, but you have to look at all the other reality shows. You have reality shows, I think Beverly Hills of California, Beverly Hills, Housewives of Beverly Hills. One of their cast members' husband, he committed suicide 2 years ago. You've had divorces, you've had marriages, divorces, babies happen, prison sentences, people getting thrown out the country. Like, you got all of this stuff going on in reality TV that people are feeding off of watching other people's demise.
And we wonder why we have a sick society.
Well,
It's like anything else, right? If you eat unhealthy food, your body's going to be unhealthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're consuming this unhealthy stuff, this toxic stuff, then you're going to be emotionally unhealthy, spiritually unhealthy. I remember, the only thing the last train wreck that I watched was the, the Tiger King.
Oh, God. I still haven't figured that out.
And I'll tell you, but you know what though, Diane, it's like junk food. But it's like junk food, right? Like you can get addicted to junk food, right? They have a certain formula of creating junk food. And then once you start down that path, you can get addicted to it. And the same thing with these shows. There's a formula to putting them together. Understand that. That's why they all are very similar in a lot of respects. There's a formula. Lighting, camera angles, editing, the dialogue, all of that. And it is all intended to grab you and bring you into it, suck you in. And people get sucked into it. And I've seen people captivated, like their phone's ringing or water's boiling on the stove, and they're like, wait a minute. Like, what do you mean, wait a minute? Hit pause. Like, they can even hit pause if they wanted to, but there's something about it. It's so addictive that they need to have it right now, in the here and now, and they can't even hit pause to go make sure their damn house doesn't burn down.
Yeah, that's true. And then, I mean, you look at the history of these train wreck shows and their lives. I mean, even not the reality train wreck shows, but the train wreck involved. Look at Wendy Williams.
Oh God.
I mean, that's
How you?
another one.
See? Instead of asking how you doing, she should have asked herself how's she doing.
Maybe she should have asked her husband too.
Oh.
But you know, before when you're in that media and you get sucked into it as the quote unquote artist or the performer or whatever they call themselves these days, and what it does, I mean, this actually really destroys them. One of the most important things that I did in deciding to run for office, you know, when I was running for freeholder, was I had a good conversation with my family and expressed to them, you know, some of the things that could happen, you know, and the attention that it gets. And, you know, I did everything possible, you know, not to, you know, bring them into it or express, you know, some of the things with them, you know, to shield them from that.
Right.
It's incredibly important when you're dealing with the public, because like Diane said, 1 minute they love you, and then the next they're trying to tear you down.
They're always trying to tear you down.
Yeah, because some people, because you have gained recognition, begin to hate you for no apparent reason, and will do anything possible to do, as they say, take you down a peg or two.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, talk about hot shows. My wife is now on the Oval binge. That is a hot mess show.
Okay.
But the other binge.
To say about Tyler Perry shows, I'm starting to see a connection with certain things. Things that he started to put in the forefront. So yeah, he has a different element of how he portrays people. Yeah, I don't know.
What do you mean?
They had a show not too long ago, maybe a year ago, on the Ministers of LA or something like that.
Oh yeah, Preachers of Los Angeles.
Yeah, if that wasn't the worst mess ever. But they quickly canceled that, thank goodness. Or rather, they quickly jumped off and said, we're not doing this anymore, after they probably see how they were portrayed on a boob tube.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Tyler Perry in his studio? When he launched that, it was a major deal. Everybody was screaming and hollering about it, and then it just kind of fizzled off.
Well, I don't know if it fizzled off. I think just because of COVID.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The studios are shut down or not. I saw some people state that they were still going to the studios and stuff like that. But there has not been anything going on as of lately, except the fact that he talked about, you know, that he's going to be doing more filming there, more people are going to be coming there to do stuff. They're doing a new show there, a couple of new shows he's done, which he's done some pretty decent shows. I think He probably needs better writers because I think he does a lot of the writing for most of the shows. So he needs some more writers because it starts to seem that the storylines are just going from one set of characters to another show to another set of characters.
Another set of characters to another show. Yeah.
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 So yeah.
But I think he also needs to look deeper into the actor pool. Although I love the fact that he's employing a lot of African Americans. I think he should get into some who have a little bit more acting talent.
Well, I don't think that's the problem. I actually like the actors and actresses that he chooses because they're people that have probably been trying to break into the business or have been trying to, been background people that you just probably haven't seen before. Because I know in the Oval that leading the president's wife, she's been in other stuff, but this is her only leading role that she's been in anything. I just think their work performance is what he's asking them to do. As far as the characters, is what's dumbing down their acting skills. I think that's what.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I've seen her in other stuff, and she's really a good actress. I think it's the portrayal of how he's writing it and what he wants it to look like that makes it look that way, especially with the old one. Because think about it, he's had what was the other show? There's a couple other shows that were on TBS that ran.
House of Pain.
Yes, House of Pain.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into
Meet the Browns.
Yeah. They came from other things, and they did really well in other things. I think
they were great actors, though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But the typeset that he puts them in makes them like that.
Okay.
I think
I can see if it's a stretch for her to portray that character. I can see that.
Yeah. And in fact, I'll send you a clip of her doing something somewhere else so you'll see. Because initially, I could not stand her either, and then I was like, I had to do a little research, and I was like, okay, I did see her somewhere else, and she's better than this role.
Okay, but what explains the rest of them?
I think that's the problem with all of them, is that he dummies them down to these characters that he wants them to be.
And then they need to work, right? So they're not going to turn the work down.
Exactly. They need to work because these are also actors and actresses that you would not see anywhere else that don't get any airtime.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
You don't see Nia Long and Omar Epps on a regular. You definitely not going to see these people.
That's true.
Although Nia Long and Omar Epps just had a new movie called Betrayal that just came out on Netflix, which is really good. So you should watch that.
Maybe I'll make it a today movie because I'm just going to relax today, I think.
I hope so.
Eric, do you really relax?
No, I don't.
Or your body is still, but your mind is still going.
Yeah, I don't.
On the other side, LinkedIn is talking about they're going to cut 6% of its workforce due to pandemic. That it's slowing down their recruitment.
Wait a minute. Wait.
LinkedIn. Mm-hmm.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, it was on CNN, and they had an article. The president talked about the professional networking website is not immune to the effects of the global pandemic. He added that the company has been hurt as fewer companies, including ours, need to hire at the same volume they did previously. I want you to know that these are only layoffs we are planning. This is the CEO. He's adding that the cuts would affect LinkedIn's global sales and talent acquisition units. Currently, in the U.S., they have 3.7 million jobs that have disappeared as a result of the pandemic, including, major tech companies who were able to avoid the brunt of the fallout. So they're cutting back, which I thought was interesting, too. That they would be, of all places, would be cutting back. But like you said, everybody's affected in some way.
Yeah, speaking of effects, the NBA has announced that there are they've been doing the bubble theory. They've announced that there are 0 cases of COVID.
Well, that's good. They also talk about the bubble theory concept was not good for the food because they were planning on using other caterers or something like that. that the food that they were using, catering companies, were the worst.
Yeah, but they may not be. It may not suit their palates, but they are very healthy. So it looks like the NBA is going to be really good. Miami-Dade, the ICU units are at 130% of capacity.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Florida has, in 7 days, Florida has risen up to 18.9. Arizona has risen up to 23.4. And Massachusetts just had an increase of 2.3.
Well, you know, it's interesting. And I posted, there was an article, I think it's the one that you talked to me about yesterday, Diane, where you have this group that's out there talking about vaccines and anti-vaccines. And, you know, my simple response was that, you know, it's very dangerous talk. Look, here's the reality. The medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry has a horrible, horrible track record with black people. Horrible. So I think that we need to pay attention to what's going on for sure, right? But because of that history, you have distrust within the black community for these industries, and it's literally killing us because we don't trust the doctor, so we don't go and we die. We don't trust the doctor or the hospital or the medication, so we don't take it, we don't go, we don't follow up, and we die. I'm not saying that there has not, see, I'm not ignoring the history, but being an intellectually curious black American, I do my research. I don't allow somebody else's dogma to drive what it is that I do that's in the best interest of Eric Dawson and his children. I would advise all of you to become intellectually curious and do your research. With this virus on the rise again, I'm telling you, there is, look, you know, your lives, your family's lives are going to be in danger, are already in danger.
Right. What we have done, and you're absolutely right, is we have lost trust because of the multiple sides of influence of information. We have had just as much false information about the COVID-19 as we had about the real. And the people who, and we have started to understand that we have trust some of the wrong people who we should not have. I mean, we're looking at, we even talked about it on the show, somebody going around without a mask. And then, you know, we find out about this guy who went to the corona party, the COVID-19 party. And he's dead. And we have, as our history, we have a distrust about doctors anyway. And now we're looking at a life or death situation, and people are not, as you said, doing the research. When I hear something on the news, especially certain news channels, no, I'm checking the facts. I'm not listening to what they say as the law or what should be happening.
Yeah. We got a caller. Caller, go.
Hey, good afternoon, man. You know, your grandma Emma's a good. I want some of that strawberry. What is it?
The strawberry banana?
Strawberry too, man.
Hey, Will.
Hey, Will? Yeah, what's happening, man? What's happening visiting my friend? How are you today? I'm calling you guys up today. Vincent was talking about the NBA, okay? So, I don't know if you guys heard yesterday that, Governor Murphy just changed the landscape of New Jersey sports. Just changed it. Shut it down. No fans.
Yes.
Capped it at 500 spectators for family, players, and coaches for Rutgers. So my thing is, okay, no due respect to Governor Phil Murphy, okay? I understand there's a pandemic going on in New Jersey, but two things. The season, I know sports fans of New Jersey sports and high school football and all kinds of stuff. We're trying to stay safe and all that kind of stuff. But there has to be a conversation in reference to the governor of the state of New Jersey and having some type of, the public and the fans should have some type of public input, okay, to reference to sports in New Jersey. Because Rutgers, and as a matter of fact, there was an article in yesterday's paper. I'm all for support to keep people safe and safety precautions. But when you like shut down major sporting events like the Jets and Giants, there's a problem out there, because the problem is that we're not paying attention to, like Eric was talking about, being safe. Like New Jersey Governor Murphy was talking about, the parents have a choice of remote learning. You know what I mean? It's just a serious situation, but the sports world has came back. Eventually.
So wait a minute. So Will, are you suggesting? What are you suggesting the governor should have done?
Well, what the governor should have done was, okay, due to the fact that MetLife Stadium holds 87,000 people, okay, the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay, well, I don't know if they're doing it now, but they were talking about 25% capacity in reference to fans, okay? And we know in New Jersey that the governor's borrowing $10 billion, okay, in reference to safety precaution measures, putting stuff.
Right, but here's the here's the issue, right?
Okay.
And we talk about on this show that you can't legislate stupid. So there are people right now who do stupid things.
Exactly.
And so even when they said about the bars and the restaurants, right, that we're gonna have that here are the rules to follow, people didn't follow them. In the stores, right? You go into the stores, you see people. Do I have one of my masks down here? Literally, you see people with the mask down below their nostrils. You see other people with the mask.
I agree. Listen,
with the mask as a chin hammock, right?
But the bottom line is there's got to be some type of personal responsibility, but we just can't keep doing mandates.
No, you know what, Will? Will, I disagree with that. Listen to what I'm saying to you. So now you get 25% of the fans that go in there. How many of them are asymptomatic? How many of them? What?
We don't know, because you know why we don't know? Because since March, in reference to the school system in New Jersey, New Jersey's Teachers Association, along with the superintendents in these schools, they should have been going to get tested. The schools are closed.
Will, let me give you this. Now, here is the irony and the politics. Okay. Now, he is shutting down stadiums, right?
Okay.
From 80,000 people to
no
now
problem. I don't have any problem with that.
But listen to this. There are hundreds of thousands of kids that he wants to go in schools.
Yep.
Now, does that make any sense?
It's not fair.
No, it's not. And the reason he's doing that,
you know why? Because you know why? These superintendents and these teachers, they should have had. We understand it's a difficult. I'm not a teacher. I wouldn't know. okay? And I'm not here to offend people, but I got to get this off my chest.
Offend people, Will.
This has been on my chest since March. We had Lincoln Orange. We've had the mayor of Orange, Dwayne Warren, okay, has had crucial testing. We've sent out robocalls to the community. You know, each community and their adults should be responsible. Like Eric was talking about, people walking without facial masks. I do agree with that. You know what I mean? And the governor did make a decision that he doesn't want to make, and I do support the governor's decision of not allowing the fans at MetLife Stadium. Rutgers is possibly going to have some protocols in place, but they don't know. You know what I mean? We're all trying to keep people safe. But I'm saying is, though, Vincent, I'm not a college student. Okay, I don't have anybody in college, but I have a friend of mine that his kid goes to Rutgers University. And this is why I'm bringing it out, Eric, on your show right now. To let them know, if their student doesn't attend classes and does it virtually classes, which is safe, and going, why in the hell is Rutgers University not refunding or not giving these parents of these students no discount in their college bill? There you go. Now, what are we doing, man? That was the whole comment. That was the reason why I'm calling today. That's not the reason. You thought the reason why I was calling to show pity that my sports have been canceled. I mean, shut down and going access to the stadium. Well, I figured you're wrong. But that was my whole conversation, calling the show and saying you were bringing this up about the deaths, the destruction, the people on ventilators. Okay, I had a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name. Okay, he contacted coronavirus. Okay, so the bottom line is that we have to be responsible adults in our community. So, Vincent, did I lay it out or I didn't lay it out? No, I think you pretty much covered it.
I think you laid it out, Will.
Bases, didn't I?
And you know what, Will? If you offended people, to hell with them.
Eric and Diane and Vincent, you know, the remote learning is safer than going into a schoolhouse. Yeah, you know what I mean? But we got people. It's like this. I thought yesterday, because I listened to Governor Murphy, and I think he's doing a fine job. You know, I'm not bashing the guy, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, it's a very tough thing when you have to shut things down, but you get their attention, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? You get their attention.
Well, Big Will, I'm with you on that and talking about the governor, but you know, opening up the schools has got to be the biggest political jackass move I've heard.
That's a real stupid
that came from him. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, Eric, we go back long, man. You know, we go back, you know, back in the, you know, since I met you, man. But I'm saying that's the reason why I was calling. You thought I was calling because supporting the sports thing because I'm a sports fan.
Right.
I'm a sports fan, but I'm all, you got to be logical on why this is being shut down. I mean, I don't have a problem sitting home watching my sports.
What really burns my bridges is that we don't have enough teachers' unions or teacher support with enough intestinal fortitude to go toe-to-toe with the governor. Because the only person who can truly open up the schools are the school superintendents.
Yep.
Whoa. Who did the teachers' union support in the last gubernatorial race?
Oh, that's right, they did.
Wait.
You know how to throw it in the wrench, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying is though we gotta understand, and teachers and parents and kids, you know, we gotta keep these little ones protected. You know what I mean? You know, we gotta understand there's a reason why this is happening. Now he was talking about yesterday. High risk sports, okay? He gave high risk sports a clearance, okay? Because I'm very involved with the high school program in Orange here, and you know the practices and all that. You know, we're in a summer workout. You know what I mean? You know, it's all good and dandy, but I'm saying we should have been having a plan before we go into this.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you a question,
coronavirus thing.
Will. Let me ask you a question. So,
Go ahead, man.
are the Tornadoes going to be practicing?
Say that again?
The Tornadoes, the Orange Tornadoes, the football team in Orange.
Football team.
Are they going to be practicing?
Oh, they're out there practicing right now, and there are safety measures in place.
What are the safety measures? So wait a minute. How do you keep social distancing when you're going to tackle somebody?
They do. I think the NJSIA has mandated all high school teams to do a temperature check when they hit the facility.
Wait. Time out.
Okay.
So, you cannot socially distance if I'm going to tackle you.
Ain't that the truth?
Okay? So what are we really talking about? See, we can't be schizophrenic about this. This is how the virus is going to win. Right?
Yep.
Our schizophrenia. See, yes, wear a mask. Oh, except when you're practicing on the football field. Oh, keep social distancing, except when you're in the classroom. Oh, we got...
Yeah, listen, man, I agree with you, Eric. You know what I mean? I don't know what the
we need to have
discussion
zero.
was.
Look, we
There
need to
was
have
a
zero.
silence, my friend.
We need to have zero tolerance in order to deal with this thing. We have to, zero. Nobody. Look, I would not be putting my kid on the goddamn football field. And you know what I'm gonna say to these parents? See, a lot of them either are living vicariously through their children because they were shit football players. So they're hoping Junior will be a good football player. Or, see, this is Keep It Real. This is pre-Keep It Real Wednesday. Right? Or what some of the parents are doing, is they're hoping to get a come up from their kid.
There you go. What did he say, Vincent? There you go. They hoping to be a come up. My boy is going to make the NFL and buy me a Bentley.
Well, Eric, why don't you get an opportunity to reach out to a football star in New Jersey and see if we can get him on the show, and we can have a conversation in reference to high school sports.
But you know what, Van? No, what? I don't need to do. But I don't. But Will, and we got one. Oh, the show's over. But real quickly before we go, I don't need to reach out to them. I want to talk to the dumbass parents.
There you go.
See, I want to know.
Dumbass parents, how can your child buy you a Bentley if they're dead?
Right. Your brain dead from the neck up. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys.
And Diane, I do agree with all your assessment and all that. But you know what? The bottom line is, though, we as adults, we always been kids and playing sports. It's all about safety. You know what I mean? It's all got to be about safety.
So you know what?
I'm kind of listen, man. I'm kind of satisfied with Murphy's decision in reference to not attending games this year. You know what I mean? And it saves me money too. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. Well, thanks for calling.
Money and it gets everybody safe, man.
Right. Thanks for calling, Will.
All right, my brother. Take care. And I want some of that strawberry you was talking about on the show.
Hey, as soon as I make another batch. Look, as soon as I make another batch, I'm gonna make a home delivery to you, Will.
All right, my friend. All right. Take care, my brother.
You too. So here's the interesting thing, and then I'll let you close out, Vincent. So, safety measures for the kids on the football field. They put a helmet on. They put a chin strap on. They put shoulder pads on to stay safe. Right? They put all the other things on. And then they tell them, you got to hydrate the kids so they don't pass out. Right? So they go through all these things. Except for the coronavirus. I can't. All right, Vincent. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Vincent, Diane, thank you so much.
Have a great day.
I'm going to have a great nap.
Well, it's been a great show. I mean, Deidre Viney. I mean, she is excellent. So if you're looking for a job, look her up online. Eric, it's always a blessing to be on the show. I always walk away with something new. And to the listeners, listen, you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to have to stand up or die. You're going to have to fight, and you're fighting for your life and the life of your children. Be safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. If you're listening to anybody who's telling you about the virus, research to make sure that is true. On behalf of Eric Dawson and the Queen of Radio Talk, Diane Murray, I'm Vincent